Just pulling out of Auto Body Doctors in North Fort Myers. This place does a great job on a lot of the auto body work that they do here. I come down and take care of a bunch of stuff for them, payroll and stuff. They do a lot of custom motorcycle painting. We'll be working on mine again here pretty soon. I don't know what our camera adjustment's going to be like. We're just remounting a camera system on this helmet. Kind of a shitty full face helmet. I mean, it's got great specs and everything like that as far as safety and stuff. I've not been able to wear full face helmets, and this one squeezes my cheeks. I feel like it makes me talk funny because I bite my own cheeks on it. It doesn't feel uncomfortable that way, but it's also, I feel like Darth Vader in the thing, you know. It's a very loud helmet. It picks up a lot of traffic noise, as well as just generally even small breaths in it. You sound like Darth Vader breathing in the damn thing. This traffic light sucks. I mean, it makes it convenient for getting in and out of the body shop, and this body shop's just off Highway 41 here. Again, that was Auto Body Doctors, North Fort Myers, Florida. They got some great fucking painters that work there, and body men that are insanely good, especially with massive collision work. We work with a bunch of airbrush guys to do custom paint jobs. Yeah, I'm just generally not used to full face helmets. I know that the major portion of accidents when it comes to helmet impacts are in the face, so everybody really should wear a full face helmet. But I'm a little claustrophobic inside of a helmet. Like, I can crawl in small pipes and everything like that. You can put me in an MRI. I don't care about any of that. I'm not claustrophobic in general, but when you put something in front of my face, I get real anxious and nervous, and I just want to rip it off. Like, I can't go scuba diving or any shit like that. I can't handle stuff on my face. So I spent months wearing a full face helmet around my house like a fucking tool, just to get used to wearing them, because I know how much better they are to wear. It really is nice here in November. I'm just riding with a long sleeve shirt. People up north are dealing with that really cold weather. I'm down here enjoying some sunshine. It is a really breezy day, though. Here's something weird about Florida. If you look up the top of these trees, you don't see any of that shit moving. Yet the wind is blowing so hard, like you have to constantly steer against it. There's something in the road up here. Give myself a little escape path in case nobody behind me stops. Now you get a lane like this that I'm in that's moving a little quicker. On this road, you got to watch out for it because people will jump lanes pretty quick here. I tend to hug over here, not just LP3, but I hug LP3 extensively on some of this area up here, just because I know the road and I'm looking up here. People can make left turns out in front of you, and if you get over a little bit, you'll get them a better chance to see you and possibly not come out in front of you. But if somebody does do that, they're not trying to kill you. They just didn't see you for the most part. Heard this old adage, it's been around the motorcycle community for years and years, of just think that everybody out here is out here to kill you. I mean, they're not, but if you just pretend that they are, and pretend they're all in it, they're all in a conspiracy. Every one of these people driving cars, they're all in a very large conspiracy to take you out. It's just only one of them gets to do it. Only one is allowed to do it. So it's when you get by that one that he's going to do it. And then plan your ride around that. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that causes a little animosity between riders and people in cars. But for the most part, these people, they just don't see you. And sometimes they look for you and they'll check a lane. They don't see you and they just come right over. It's not something that they're doing on purpose. Like, I don't like where I'm hanging out now with this car in a blind spot. They are going quite a bit farther, though. I make this route every day. I know where that person's actually going. Yeah, it is extremely windy today. I mean, and you really feel it with the tires I have too, which I highly do not recommend. And that's these Shinko tires I have on this motorcycle. Now, I didn't just get them because they were cheap. They are very well-rounded tires, and they work very well for the training that I do with this motorcycle. Very advanced techniques. We're trying to get down and scrape floorboards and get in tight areas. And they work great for that. But you get out here above 70 miles an hour, like on the interstate. Oh, by the way, I never go over above 70 miles an hour. So when you're going interstate speeds, let's just say that, make it more comfortable for everybody, it can get really rough. This tire will get loose on the front end. It almost feels like you got bad, fork bearings or something because of the way the front end can feel a little bit loose. And it really is just the tires. At high speeds, they're just not great tires. For this particular motorcycle, they might be great on other ones, but they don't work here. They work well on the motorcycle range, though. So sometimes I have to give up a little and get a little. I don't know if the camera can pick it up or not, but as I pass signs that are like the reflective white signs, how bright those signs really shine with my headlights. I put a custom headlight package on this thing, and it's all LEDs. They're the 6-way LED lights. And you know, this is a 2006 Road Glide. So the front end, nobody would, guess that by looking at the front end, because back in those old 2005, 2006 Road Glides, they had that big bubble front end lens, and I took it out and made it look like one of the later years models. I never did like that bubble on the front end, but the problem with switching it out was that little air gets in there, and it sometimes causes a big whistle while you're going down the road. That can get pretty annoying sometimes. You get in high winds like this, and it doesn't do it as much as when it's a calm day, and you're just driving directly into the wind, and you'll get a whistling noise. You hear the constant whistle. But it was totally worth it for the aesthetics of the bike. I also put not just the engine guards on it. I have the back crash bars, people call them, as well, to protect the bags on the back. Because again, we do a lot of advanced training and stuff, and tipping a bike over is pretty normal for us, and we don't consider that a bad thing. We don't know where the limits of the bike are, and we don't know where the limits of our abilities are unless we go beyond them. And then I don't want to do that on the road, so I do that in parking lots. And when we're training, sometimes we'll dig holes in the asphalt from dragging the bike around a little too much and digging a little too deep. Or you'll get into one of those really tight turns where your floorboard is just about to touch the asphalt, and your motor will just bog out or woof, and that's enough to put you down when you're in a serious control maneuver, because you'll lose that power from that momentum. And if you don't have enough momentum because you're going super slow to try and get around some stuff, then you can get into trouble that way. Bike will just tip over. We don't think anything of it. You just pick it back up and do it again. As long as you recognize what caused it, who cares? So there's little protectors you can get if you just keep doing that with your engine guards and your bag guards. You'll eat holes in them, when you're pushing limits like that. So there are little things you can get, like you can get collar shaft shackles that are split. So you want to get the split ones that fit the size of those, just like they would go on any shaft. And when you put those down near the bottom curves, you can tip over on those, and then those are replaceable. Mark, who you guys will see in plenty of videos, he has them on his bike. He ordered one specifically for a motorcycle, which meant they probably tripled the price of the things. But I found a place to just order them as if you were just going to use the normal shaft collars for what you would use them for in the mechanical industry, and they'll fit on the bike. When you're tooling around in parking lots and stuff, when you're tipping it over, pushing it to the limits, your bike really doesn't get damaged because you're only tipping it over, 3-5 mile an hour, something like that. And that's usually because the motor's woofing, because you're trying to give it just a little bit of RPM to keep some momentum, but yet you don't want to give it a lot of RPM sometimes because, well, if you wash your rear brake out from dragging it too much, while you're practicing, then it won't be there. Like, I have oiled my rear brakes plenty of times over dragging them. Sometimes that little switch sensor that's in your brake line to make your rear brake taillight work, it works off a switch off the front brake and off the rear brake. I've made that go bad plenty of times by how often I use the rear brake, and I've had to replace rear brakes a lot more often. I always remind people, I never judge people out here on the road, whatever you want to do out here, you do you. I don't care. You ride what you want to ride. You ride how you want to ride. Just when you start putting other people in danger, that's an issue. This isn't a fucking racetrack, and you can put a lot of people in danger when you treat it like one. I don't mind speeding though. You're going to be speeding. That's one thing. But if you're out here blasting this at $140 through these roads, which I've seen people do on this road, that's really putting a lot of other people in danger. You're like a projectile at that point. But I don't care how people ride. I don't care if they follow safety protocols or whatever when they're out here. What I really care about is that people constantly stay trained and ready to respond to those things. When something comes up, you need to be able to react. You need your muscles to know how to react. Like, a real important thing is most people in an emergency, almost all of us are going to do exactly the same thing. Oh shit, something happens. You're going for the brakes. That's what you're doing. And one of the problems with that is a lot of people never practice what is like a brake and escape. We practice braking, we practice swerving, but if you don't practice the combined use of them and how you also have to separate them, you can wind up in a front tire skid and go down, and that's where a lot of those happen from. You probably all heard that adage before. It's a bullshit adage. I had to lay my bike down to avoid the accident. Well, bullshit. Number one, you had an accident, so you didn't avoid shit. Number two, you didn't have to lay it down. In most situations, you just find that that's not true. And what really happened was that you got your hand full of brake, and then you tried to swerve while you had the brake held. You didn't release the brake before you tried to swerve. And if you do that, swerving takes almost all available traction of a motorcycle. So you need to practice swerving, and you need to practice slowing down, releasing the brakes, and then swerving. And then if you need to get back on the brakes, do that. So practice that. So your body's used to it. Your body can recognize it. You can just practice swerving around anything. While you're going down a road, there's there's a manhole in the road. Well, you're on two wheels. You don't have to hold a certain lane position. There's no reason you can't try to practice swerving. Know how it goes. Practice braking hard, then releasing them and swerving. As long as there's nobody behind you, like there is nobody behind me, you can practice whatever you want to practice. Just kind of be safe while you're doing it. A parking lot's the best place to practice it. But a parking lot also won't let you practice it at speeds. So you can feel how that, because I'm going to tell you right now, that swerve back there at 55 mile an hour feels a heck of a lot different than it does at 15 miles per hour in a parking lot. But you still have to know how your particular bike responds, how it feels. And again, I'm no model of safety out here. I ride how I want to ride, and I don't give a shit what anybody says about it. I've had enough bikes and ridden for enough years. All I know is that my body feels better when I train all the time. And when those situations happen, they never really seem to be emergencies. You have a couple over the years, but with less training, it feels like those emergencies are much more scary at the time when they happen, but nowadays I don't see it a lot. As a matter of fact, I sometimes have people show up at a riding course, and they're there to get their endorsement with us. So they don't even have their endorsement, but yet they rode their bike to the place. And again, I don't judge. I'm not calling the cops. Hey, this son of a bitch drove over here without a license, to get his license. I don't care about any of that. I'm just happy that you are getting it, and that you are going to get some training. So again, I don't judge in that regard, but a lot of times, I can't tell you how often it happens. One of these guys will show up, they brought their bike to the class, and they're like, man, there's so many assholes out there on the road. Just on my way over here, I had 3 cars pull out in front of me, and 2 people cut me off, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not seeing that. These guys probably ride dozens of miles a year, so they're hard riders. But realistically, I'm out here all the time, and that shit isn't happening to me. And a lot of my friends it doesn't happen to. You can recognize stuff like you seeing brake lights out ahead of you there. Something's stopping. Start backing up, slowing down, watching these intersections, and those emergencies start happening a lot less. So when somebody comes and tells me that they almost got run off the road 4 times on the way to class, and they only live 10 miles away from the place, and we have their address because they're there to get their endorsement, I just find that stuff amusing, and I'm thinking that the common denominator is them in those situations. Defensive driving is just the way to go. And remember, instead of just thinking that, hey, every car is out to kill you, think, hey, none of these son of a bitches can see me. That's the way I look at it, is that these guys can't see me. I need to do stuff to make myself be seen. I'll ride in blind spots. I do all that when I get relaxed too. I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying I'm a model for it out here. It's just when you get a little bit of seat time and you get some training, things seem to be less of an emergency out here on the road, and you start running into less trouble. You'd be surprised how much slow maneuvers in parking lots, can translate into, great riding techniques out here on the road. Now this lane shuts off up here. Who knows what this car's doing? Well, he's turning in, so let him come on in. I mean, what are you going to do? Get up here and block him? Get mad because somebody got in front of you? Piss on that. I've got a destination. They've got a destination. The difference is they're in a hurry to their destination. Me, I'm on a motorcycle. So my day is already, 1,000 times better than them because I'm out here enjoying a motorcycle and I don't give a shit about my destination. I care about the ride between it. I want to enjoy the ride.
Alright, Coneheads, thanks for sticking with me for the ride. I know it was annoying. I was doing a lot of pontificating and there was a lot of wind noise and that helmet was extremely loud and annoying. But I do appreciate it if you did stay and watch the whole thing. Also, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Doing so might earn you some free gear. We are going to pick people to give free gear to, and that'll be subscribers. As you subscribe, we'll get the first 100. We'll start giving some gear, some 500, some 1,000. We are a new channel, but we want to help out the motorcycle community the best we can. Even if it is with annoying antics, we still have a very serious side and do very serious training. And remember, if you ever do get in trouble out there, don't talk to insurance companies, don't talk to anybody if anything ever happens to you out there. The first thing you want to do is call 1-833-CJ-KNOWS. 1-833-CJ-KNOWS. Just give them a call. That is an attorney, Zaya Law, CJ Zaya. He likes motorcyclists. He is a motorcyclist, owns a racing team. So, he likes to sponsor racers and everything. This guy will take care of you if you're a motorcyclist and you get in trouble out there. So please don't forget to give him a call. And to stay out of trouble out there, keep crushing cones, man. You can get cones from us. We'll show you diagrams to set those things up for our patron supporters. And you can also get free training with us when you're a supporter of us. So please just keep practicing out there, have a good time, and don't try to judge others and don't get too mad at cars.